let's just begin with a welcome to everyone who is tuning in. Thank you for joining us. Again, my name is Echo, and I'm here with the master Santos Bonacci. This gentleman has led the consciousness for quite a long time. How long have you been in this world of research and truth, would you say now? Not to put a date on it, but...
Well, thank you for your compliments in your introduction, brother. I really appreciate that. But one day I'll be a master. A star. I guess we're all stars anyway, aren't we? I mean, youngster, sister, spinster, mister, monster, mobster, fraudster, gangster, jester, trickster, pastor, minister, ancestor. I guess, yeah.
A little bit of everything.
I'll be one of those stars. I just don't want to be a disaster or a fraudster or an imposter.
Right. Well, I've never seen anything like that coming from you. The word truth has been the forefront of everything I've studied, and it's been such a like you just led the way for me for so long. And I mean, I could go on to introduce you for probably 10 minutes with all complimentary aspects of everything that you've brought into my life and have helped me show other people. And that, I believe, is what this is about, is sharing the knowledge that we acquire so that it gets passed on and expanded. And in that way, I wanted to go through a couple basic questions just to see if we could help out some of those who are just starting their journey. And I know that the culmination of what you've put together would be called syncretism, or what you've discovered, however you want to word it. Syncretism seems to be the basis of it. What is syncretism?
Good one. Yeah, well, it's different to synchronicity. A lot of people get the two confused, and they even add a third one, which is synchronism, which doesn't even exist. So I often get compliments by people. I love your synchronism, Santos. It's really good stuff. And I'm thinking, what, synchronicity? Syncretism? What are they talking about? I know what they're talking about, but like words for me, they stick. But then again, it's easy to misspell, mispronounce words, so I understand. Well, synchronicity is something that syncs up in time. Syncretism is something that syncs up in here and in your heart. So sync is the root of that word, and that's it tells all. That's the word that tells all. It's you're syncing things up, right? It's similar to the root for symphony, symposium, syntax, synarchy.
Bringing everything together in that way.
Yeah. It's joining the dots. Everything is interrelated. So syncretism is a field of knowledge which shows you the interrelatedness of all fields of human knowledge. Simple. And you asked the question at the start, which I never answered, how long have I been on that? Well, I've known about it all my life, but in 2007 was when it all came together. So I'd been studying since I was a little boy, really. Grew up as a Jehovah's Witness, had a lot of Bible education. Of course, they are really good Bible students, so I'm happy about that, even though it was a Rockefeller, Rothschild, mind-controlled Jewish infiltration organization. I'm still happy that I spent many years with the Jehovah's Witnesses, because I learnt my favorite book, the best book that exists, in my opinion, the Bible. And most of my stuff is based on the Bible, believe it or not.
Yeah. It's all in there, isn't it?
Yeah, all the AstroTheology, all the astrology, it's all there. It's the greatest treatise on AstroTheology and astrology that ever existed. But there are other title contenders for that, and Bhagavad Gita, they all are.
Yeah.
Except the Bible is just, I don't know. It's much more layered, much more about the science and hiding the science. It's cryptic. The Bible is just it's more intense than any other book. The other books just reveal the truth as it is. They're more honest. I don't know, or whether that's the right word. They're more
transparent, I guess you could say.
Yeah, there is another synonym which is more appropriate than honest. It's not that the Bible is dishonest. It's just that it's like some artists. Okay, so they'll paint a landscape and it's honest. You know, they actually do all the leaves and everything. Then there's others that will do. What's that style? That Monet style
Oh,
and all those.
Impressionism. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So that's sort of hiding and blurring, but making it appear it's the same landscape, right?
Right. Right.
So the Bible to me is like that. You know, it's not like a photograph of a landscape.
Right.
It's like a painting, which is just, you know, artistic. There's so much scientific and artistic license that the Bible has assumed that it's not funny, and I've just been blessed and grateful for the fact that I've found the keys to understanding it. They're pretty simple.
Mm.
I always knew I would. As a young boy, I always thought, yeah, what the pastors are telling me here at church, this book of Revelation, I don't agree with it. I didn't agree with them. I knew they were on the right track. They were using the scriptures. They were explaining them as best they could. But I just knew that there was something more in the scriptures that they were not penetrating. And I knew that one day I would understand the book of Revelation and the Bible. I would have the keys. It's not a mystery. It's going to be understood. And I did. And I've published over 1,000 videos and presentations, which are all different, one from another, including volumes and volumes and volumes of data and facts and proofs and evidence that fully support what I'm saying and exhaustively and comprehensively prove that the system that we have is one. It's called syncretism. The universe is simple. You know, it's not divide and conquer. It's unite and conquer.
I think we're similar in that way of having such a religious background, and that's one of the reasons that I resonated with your message early on, as I grew up in the Roman Catholic Church, and so got a really great knowledge of the Bible from that perspective. And at a certain point, I kept asking questions in my mind, at least, as to things that seem to be deeper. And it feels like most of the mystery schools have those 1, 2, or 3 levels of information, and obviously they give the broad information to the masses, and then less and less to those who are adept at a certain point, or truly continue to seek out that truth in their own way, or whatever that information may be. But the lessons about the 12 months and the 12 disciples, the 1 year and the Christ, those fundamental aspects of the wheels in your presentations, like you mentioned, 1,000 some videos, and I've watched so many of them, and I'm always telling people, well, you got to check out Santos Bonacci, check out the Magnum Opus, check out all his Atum, check out As Above, So Below, and these might be 3 videos at 2 or 3 hours apiece, but by the end of that, the deprogramming for someone's consciousness from what we've been taught, it changes the way that we see the world entirely. And it's so vital to, in my opinion, waking up to higher consciousness and more of the connections that you're talking about, more of the syncretism. It's just beautiful the way that you have broke it down and shared it with so many people. And I speak probably for so many more people than myself to thank you for finding a way through all of that and putting it out there in such a way that was clear to see. The graphics were always so immensely helpful, and just your honest representation of the information was it's been so beautiful for me and so many others. So thank you for all of that. I hope you know. I mean, I don't think I could ever really thank you enough for what it's meant to me, and I know that there's so many others that feel the same way. Let me ask you another question. I know you've done tons of video on the Christ within. What would you say? I mean, how would you define or what is Christ consciousness?
The Christ consciousness is the consciousness we had before we came to birth in these bodies. And we reunite with that during the course of our life, hopefully. Those who don't have to reincarnate again, obviously. But it's a consciousness that we've become detached from. So the animal man behaves like an animal and uses his carnal mind. He builds houses, cities, he does science, sports, military campaigns, etc., 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 but never acquires and returns to his, reconnects with his source consciousness, which is the Christ consciousness. So you and I, on the other hand, to varying degrees, we are connecting to our Christ consciousness. So, we started our journey. It's called the Truth Journey, and
the great work.
Yeah, the great work. So, and it will go forever, probably.
Yeah.
We've got a long way to go. We've just started,
Yeah.
But it's that repentance, and it's that accepting Christ into our hearts, which Christ means consciousness, simple. It's accepting truth and consciousness into your hearts that changes you and brings you back into connection with the source. So essentially what syncretism does is it teaches ways of returning to your true estate of full empowerment, unconditioned, unlimited consciousness, where you can know the truth, which will set you free, where you can behave as a God instead of an animal man. You can behave as a divine man, a child of God,
Yeah.
And that's what the Creator wants. The Creator wants us to return. That's why he sent forth his Son, not literally.
Right.
No historical man, Jesus, came to this earth 2,000 years ago. I mean, there's not even a shred of evidence that even happened. It's all fabricated. It's all fabricated. Look at the work of Joseph Atwill, Caesar's Messiah. Look at the work of Francesco Carrotta, Alvin Boyd Kuhn, who is this King of Glory. Alvin Boyd Kuhn is my favorite. He smashes the historical Christ bullshit story.
Interesting,
It's beautiful. I've read all these books. I've read all of these books, even from the time of Celsus, which was the 2nd century of our Common Era. Even he, 1800 years ago, he was saying, what's this freaking bullshit story about a God man who came down here to save your ass?
Yeah.
You have to save yourself, you stupid fool. He's not coming back. You didn't come. He was busting. So was Julian the Emperor. So was Porphyry. Each of those three wrote a whole book dedicated to busting. This is thousands of years ago.
Wow.
This is like 1800 years ago.
They were on it.
They were on it, just fresh on the heels of this historical Jesus. And if there was a historical Jesus, you would think Josephus would have written elaborate things about him, because all the Jews were waiting for this Messiah.
Right.
And Philo of Alexandria, the richest man who ever lived, he wrote whole volumes of spiritual knowledge, didn't mention Jesus once. He was supposed to have lived at the same time as Jesus. Francesco Carrotta, whom I mentioned earlier, he points out that there are so many familiarities with Julius Caesar, JC, and Jesus Christ.
Right.
So we have a Julio-Gregorian calendar, and the Christians call it the Anno Domini, the Year of the Lord calendar,
right,
which goes back to another JC. What a coincidence! So we have Julius Caesar, who starts a calendar around exactly the same time as Jesus was on the earth, only 40 or 50 years difference earlier. Starts a calendar. His adopted nephew Augustus started it, and supposedly Jesus was born at the time that calendar was started. Hello, says Francesco. He goes, don't you people get it, you clowns? Jesus goes to Copernicum. Julius Caesar goes to Capernaum. Jesus goes to the Jordan River. Julius Caesar crosses the Rubicon. Jesus gets betrayed by Judas. Julius gets betrayed by Brutus. Jesus dies on the Ides of March. Julius Caesar dies on the Ides of March. And the list goes on and on and on. It's the same story. We have the same calendar. You got Christians who will say, oh, of course Jesus was historical. We have his calendar. He was born in the year 0 AD. Well, I'm sorry, but it's Julius Caesar's calendar, people.
Yeah.
It's the Julio-Gregorian calendar. It's not Jesus's. It has nothing to do with a supposed mythological gospel Jesus. Gospel means fairy tale. That's what it means. Okay, you can, for all the Christians who are eventually going to watch this, they love to laugh and ridicule and deny facts. But a gospel means a fairy story, okay? But it doesn't mean that fairy stories are lies. Mythologies and cosmologies and fairy tales and nursery rhymes, and gospels, they contain the best truths in them, but they're not literal. They are literary.
Right.
For
Huge
intelligent
difference.
people.
Huge difference.
There's a huge difference. One, the literal Bible will keep you stupid and waiting for Jesus to come in the clouds to wipe your bum because you can't do it. You can do it yourself, wipe your own bum, and you can save yourself too. If you're drowning and there's no one around, it's no use saying, oh, well, I'll wait for a log to come along or a life jacket. And,
2,000 years.
No, you have to swim. You have to save yourself from drowning, and you have to save yourself from stupidity, because Jesus didn't come, and he ain't coming back to save your ass. Simple. That's the truth. Laugh as much as you want, but one day you'll work it out. It's just that you're lacking whoever you are that is laughing right now. And we get to have a last laugh because we know Jesus directly. We know Christ directly. You don't. You only know Christ from your pastors and the books of your church. And how many churches are there and denominations?
Oh my gosh.
Which Christian church is the true one?
Right.
Like the Simpsons. Remember when No, I think it was which show was it? Anyway,
The South Park, probably. Was it South Park?
Yeah, South Park. That's the one. Anyway, they're down in hell, and all these Christians are down in hell, and they're scratching their neck. Where the hell are we? You're down in hell. But I was a Jehovah's Witness. It doesn't matter. But I was a cat. Doesn't matter. And if you really want to know the correct answer as to who had the truth, the answer is the Mormons. Yep, the Mormons. Well, if you ask the Seventh-day Adventists, the Mormons serve the devil and are all going to hell. Same if you ask the Jehovah's Witnesses, the Pentecostals, the born-again Christians, the Presbyterians, the Methodists, the Catholics, the Orthodox. They will all tell you that every other Christian denomination is serving the devil and is going to hell. So, is that the most divided kingdom of Christ you've ever seen? 40,000 501c3 registered, meaning given to the king of the land. That means they are subject, they're registered, they've got a 501c3 registration, they've got tax exemption. Have they really? They make a lot of money, all these Christians, don't they? Got a lot of land and buildings and property. Look at the Vatican. The sooner you lose historical Christianity, the sooner you will become a true Christian. I'm a true Christian. And if anyone says, oh, no, you're not, well, then I can say that to you. What, what makes a Jehovah's Witness comes to my door and says, I'm a true Christian? Well, I'm a true Christian too. So who wins? Who's right?
Right. Yeah.
My Christ, your Christ, the Mormon Christ. You can't drink coffee if you're a Mormon. You can't smoke marijuana if you're a Jehovah's Witness. You can't work on Saturday if you're a Seventh-day Adventist. You can't have contraceptives if you're a Catholic. Hello, which is the church? I'm confused, you Christians. Is there any Christian out there who's got any idea? No, there's not. They're nice people, but they're stupid because they haven't connected with the source. You know?
They're stuck with the middleman, thinking that is all they need to get, or that's the fount of the knowledge, when they're not searching deeper to get it straight from the source themselves.
Yeah, if only they did some comparative reading, they will find Jesus in Bhagavad Gita. They would find Jesus in Egypt. They'll find Jesus here in Mexico. They'll find Jesus in Peru, Japan. I saw one of the 3 official graves of Jesus in Japan. I stood on it. I put my hand on the cross. It was the cross of Isikiri. That sounds like Jesus Christ in Japanese.
Yeah, Isa and
I went to Japan when I was still a Jehovah's Witness, and I saw one of the 3 official tombs of Jesus. One in Japan, another one's in Nepal, and then there's the one in Jerusalem. So you can find Jesus everywhere. There's only one story. There's only one hero. There's only one savior. Yes, it is Jesus, but he has different names in other cultures, people. In Egypt, it was Horus. Here, it's Quetzalcoatl. Somewhere else, it's Kukulkan.
Yeah.
Virakosha. Buddha. Krishna. Vishnu. Brahma. Jehovah. The Jews call him Adonai, Meshach, Mahashem.
It's a lot of names.
Shiva.
Yeah.
It goes on.
On and on and on. Yeah. Wow.
But there is only one savior, and it is the Christ, because it's consciousness. That's the savior. Consciousness and truth will save you. Ignorance will destroy you. Look at all these ignorant people that are going getting these medications in the last 2 years. And we see the statistics of all these deaths happening. These are clever people. These are doctors, sportsmen, lawyers, professionals. They're all going getting this medication. Very clever. They don't know what's in. No one knows what's in them because it hasn't been disclosed. You get a blank paper for the ingredients. Big sheet of paper. No ingredients at all. Oh, yeah, I'll have some of that because I'm intelligent. This is the ignorance that's killing people. These are the same people that are waiting for Jesus to come to save them. I'm pretty harsh sometimes, but I'm not. I love people. I've got plenty of love. I mean, if you look at all the work I've done in the last 11 years trying to save dumb people's asses, because I was a dumb jackass, ignorant myself. So I have a big desire to help people. So I may sound harsh, but it's not. It's just reality is harsh,
Yeah, truth for sure. It is very sharp sometimes, and sometimes that is what people need to hear in order to get through, so it affects some sort of change in their psychology, so that they actually hear it in a way. I tend to be very diplomatic, but I feel like when you get through all the light and all the dark, there is a broad spectrum of how things can be discussed and how they can be put, and the content itself can be very harsh. Finding the right time and the right person for that, and that's why I'm asking some of these basic questions. How do we take some of these super deep concepts, bring it to the surface, whether it's harsh or not, and allow people to engage with some of the information. Some people are going to laugh and shut it off, dislike or whatever. And some people will say, well, what was that book? Let me go read that, or let me go see more of this guy's presentations. And then those people who go deeper into the information will come back and be like, wow, that guy knows what he's talking about. And then they'll be doing the same thing. They'll be hitting you up for a podcast or buying some graphics and reading a book, you know.
Yeah.
That's how it goes for sure. Yeah, I appreciate the both sides of the spectrum because it's necessary. That's what makes life so fun, is the diversity of everything, and why someone like you can present your information and resonate with so many people, and there's other people that can do it in a different way, and it will find its ears and hearts with others. You know, it just depends on that connection. But you before had called it the truth journey, and I agree with you completely. It's sometimes so deep and sometimes so transparent, depending on what book. Bhagavad Gita is obviously one of my favorites. It's just, it seems like such a personal story for people going through their change. I didn't want this position, but here I am, and how do we get through it? And so beautiful too. And there's so many different versions. The one I normally buy for other people is a small paperback. It's very, very easy to digest, easy translation, but still rich with so much depth to it. So let me ask you, with all of that, about truth, about the truth journey. What is truth?
Wow. Yeah, well, truth is evidence that stands up on its own, knowledge that can be acquired, which doesn't need to be defended by endless theories and conjectures and concepts. It just stands on its own. The truth presents itself and it cannot be denied. The truth is conscious being. It's a conscious understanding. It's direct knowledge rather than second-hand knowledge. Truth and knowledge have always been connected. Jesus himself said, you will know the truth. So that's knowledge and truth. Okay. So
right.
Truth is based on knowledge, not ignorance. Some people think they know the truth, but they don't. For instance, if I go around saying, oh yeah, well, my friend Tom, his car is blue. And I tell everybody in the neighborhood, I've got a friend who's got a Corvette and it's blue. And where did I learn that? Well, Tom told me that. And Tom's been my friend for 30 years. Never told a lie. I can trust him with my life. Always dependable, and he's my best friend. But you see, Tom's colorblind, and I didn't know that. And I've never gone around to his place and opened his garage door to look inside to see if he does in fact have a blue Corvette. So I go there one day, open the door, and there is a red Corvette. And I go to Tom, I say, Tom, I thought you said you had a blue Corvette. He said, yeah, there it is, it's blue. No, that's red. No, it's blue. Dude, you're colorblind. Yeah, I am. But I thought it was blue. Well, now that made an idiot out of me, because I went and told all your neighbours, all my friends, that your car's blue and insisted that that's the truth. Well, you see, that's what the world runs on, second-hand knowledge. But Jesus said, you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. So what is the truth? It's direct knowledge. That's, if you want an answer, like a simple answer, it's direct knowledge. So direct knowledge is, if I introduce you to my mother, and I say, this is my mother, that's absolutely 100% true, because I have direct knowledge. I came from her womb. I have the same DNA. I did the blood test. I did I look like her. I act like her. I was grown up by her. I've got pictures of me when I was a one-day-old baby with her holding me in her arms. I have direct knowledge. So truth is direct knowledge. It's not secondhand knowledge. That's pseudoscience. That's pseudo knowledge. And most people are living on pseudo knowledge.
Yeah.
Oh, the medications the doctors are pushing, they've got to be good for you because they've got white suits and they went to university. So if you want to live forever, as Jesus said, you will know the truth and the truth will set you free, free from death, lies. You need, that's the truth. And by the way, the truth is the first principle of all principles. The truth is the beginning of creation. Everything is based on truth. Everything follows truth, obeys truth, and everything culminates in truth. Starts and ends in truth. In the middle, there's a lot of lies, but that's
Right. Yeah.
well, that's deliberate and part of the process. But
Yeah.
ultimately, the ones who deserve the truth, who are worthy, they will find it. Simple.
Now, in that excellent answer, so many good things to look at there. You mentioned immortality or escaping death, and there's versions of that in the Kabbalah. There's also, if we talk about ascension. So to jump a little bit from that last question, let me ask you about ascension. And seems to be a keyword or a buzzword for a lot of people these days. Ascension symptoms, spiritual awakening, all these different ways to look at it. But in your own perspective, what is ascension?
To ascend, when you ascend a stairway, you climb the stairway. So descending is going down, ascending is going up. Up in what? Virtue, ethics, knowledge, consciousness, awareness, good qualities, hopefully, morals, in other words,
Right.
love, ascending, growing in love. You see some relationships between partners that seem to grow stronger as the years go by. That those people are ascending their relationship. Otherwise, it would descend into divorce. So ascension is the improvement of a condition. So we are conditioned, we're limited, and we have many opportunities to improve those limitations. In fact, humans are always inclined to improve your nature, personality, individuality. You don't want to. No one wants to be a bum. No one wants to be disliked or known to be gross. Everybody, wants to be liked, don't they? They want universal acceptance. But the true Jedi, he doesn't seek the approval of men. He seeks the approval of the gods. And that is the ultimate. That is the ultimate.
Okay. Yeah. That makes sense. I like that. A practical definition. It seemed to me at a certain point, well, if this Jesus character had ascended, then why are we not figuring out what that is or studying in that realm of how to do that? If he says, you shall do everything I have done and more, what are those things that we can study to get to that point, not just worshiping the stories of his life, but learning what he learned or how he learned, or how to view, how to exist and advance and expand.
Yeah, because the Jesus that existed has only existed in writing, in Gospels. So, of course, those writings are going to tell you that you can be greater than that Jesus because you're real. That Jesus is not. It's real in a sense in that it's a real model, the perfect man model, the perfect. I mean, it's faultless. Jesus is faultless. It's the perfect role model for us. So, but it's telling us that we can do more because we're actually going to implement those teachings in the physical realm, and take it. We're going to move mountains.
You're right.
We are moving mountains.
Yeah.
we're going to, once we restore all of our powers, our conscious powers that were taken away from us in this conditioned Kali Yuga, we're going to be doing magic. We're going to be maguses.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. I look forward to it. It's part of the ongoing process. It doesn't seem to have an end, and enjoying the journey as opposed to focusing on some destination, or that idea that it's going to be okay then, or it'll be better when that happens, or when I get here, or that illusion of thinking that it needs to be separate from the present moment. I've studied time and different perspectives of time in many different realms, just to have my own personal perspective on it differently than, I guess, how I used to. I can't speak for anyone else, but even just the idea of day, DEI, as opposed to DAY, and how long these things could be, and just the perspective of, life and death, and day and night, and sleeping and waking, and all the different ways that we look at time. I'd be interested if you have any thoughts on your perspective of, linear, three-dimensional time versus, other versions of what is out there, or what you've experienced, or what you think.
It's a persistent illusion, time. So it's just a perception of the movement that we see, of motion, but it can never only be an eternal nowness, of course. So time is just the unfurlment of the thinking process of God, and we witness that from an individual perspective, and we see change in the now. We see that change, but it's still just a now.
Right.
It's always a now. So when I say I'm here now, and then 5 seconds later I say I'm still here now, well, it's always now.
Right.
How do you get out of this now? How do I go? No, right. I want to get out of now, and I want to go physically. I want to go to the future. Well, you can't do that because it's not there.
Right. When you get there, it'll be the now.
Yeah, and the past does not exist. It's not there. Where is it? If it were there, we would go there, physically go there, and and perhaps change the past, or interfere with it. You can't do that. You can't do that. You can. There are different timelines. When people say they went back into the past, what they did was they went back into another timeline.
Right.
You can't go back into the past in this one timeline. It's gone forever. There's many infinite timelines. It's infinite. There's so many decisions we could have done better or worse, and so many outcomes, millions and millions and millions. This outcome we chose in this timeline, when we came and contracted to come in here, that's what's going to be. It's whatever it is, that's what's going to be. We're going to,
no matter what we do.
we're going to have to live with the consequences of our decisions.
Did you read those Choose Your Own Adventure books when you were younger?
Which ones?
The Choose Your Own Adventure, where you'd get up to a certain page and it would say, if you want to go into the dungeon, turn to page 17. If you want to go back outside, turn to page 21. And it was almost like a video game in a book, but it's a really good metaphor for the consequences of our actions. And in a linear fashion, how we make a choice, and then all these different ripple effects can happen in our life. And we can go back and think, well, if I would have been on page 10, I would have decided to run from the monster instead of go into the dungeon, it may have turned out differently. I've always enjoyed those, but that's back in the day of Dungeons and Dragons. One of the aspects of the knowledge itself that I found very beneficial was the Kabbalistic tree of life, the Sephiroth, just that entire process of some of those things, the Kabbalah itself. I believe you have some knowledge in that area as well. So if you don't mind, I'll ask you, what is Kabbalah?
Kabbalah is the science of electromagnetics. Everything is. Christianity, Kabbalah. Kabbalah comes from the hyperbola. The hyperbola is the source and cause of all spiritual teachings. The hyperbola is in the center of every atom and every torus field. Hyperbola. It's the word of God. That's why we get the word hyperbole. When you speak in hyperbole, it speaks. So the hyperbola is the speaker, the word of God. Kabbalah, Baal, Baal, Bel, all of these Baal words, it's the hyperbola. And that's why you have words like diabolical, that's the devil, diablo. Diabol means dipole. It's two poles, red shift, blue shift.
Right.
So Kabbalah teaches you that science, the science of how white light splits, produces red shift, blue shift, physical, electrical world. And it's the science of how that happens. It's everything is. There's no other subject.
It's in all of it.
If you ask me what is mathematics, what is alchemy, what is astrology, what is Kabbalah, what is Toltec wisdom, it's all the science of electromagnetics, because that's all that exists. There's nothing else to talk about. There's nothing else to talk about. If you talk about your girlfriend, you're talking about electromagnetics. If you're talking about atoms, it's electromagnetics. If you're talking about your job, it's electromagnetic.
Right.
If you're talking about your health, it's electromagnetic. Mountains, waterfalls, stars, galaxies, God, doesn't matter. These glasses, these are electromagnetic. I can prove that to you. These are made of atoms which are electromagnetic. This remote control, this herbal tea, these brewer's yeast, there's nothing outside of the one subject, electromagnetics. Once we get that into our thick skulls, then we will understand all things.
That's great.
That doesn't mean to say that I understand all things. No, but I have the key to understand all things. That's the important thing. You don't need to know everything at once.
Yeah.
That's boring. That's boring. It's not that. That's not what we're saying. It's we have the ability to, and we have the keys to. You see, a lot of people commit suicide and get depressed because they don't know the answers to their health problems, their answers to their religious questions, their answers to, they feel like they're trapped. Well, syncretism unlocks all that and makes people happy because it gives them the answers to know everything one at a time, and eventually they will know all things. They have access to it.
That's great. Thank you for that. That leads me to another question, which would be, with that just said, everything being electromagnetics, if someone was joining their truth journey now, where would they begin their search? Where would you say, go here first?
I would say go within, but that's a bit tricky. I would start with my channel, Mr. AstroTheology,
Yeah.
because that will give you the key. And you don't have to believe anything I say. You just have to know it. You know what I mean? All right, for instance, I speak Spanish. I'm fluent in Spanish. I don't believe in Spanish. I just know it. So the same is with astrology. People are afraid of astrology. Oh, don't talk about that. That's from the devil. You know, I don't want to know that. Well, it's just knowledge. It's not going to change what you believe. It's just knowledge, like a language. Astrology is a language. You don't have to believe it. You just have to know it, right? So
very well put. Yeah.
Yeah, but you need the keys. If you don't have the keys, forget about it. You know, and the keys are electromagnetics, the torus field, the atom, all is atom, and that's all I present and teach in my presentations.
And there's so much depth to it. It's amazing. That's where I started. I wouldn't say at the very beginning, but I would say at where it actually made impact on me was watching your presentations, just getting that information and how it's all connected through syncretism. Yeah, it's a great place for anybody to start. I really appreciate your time. Let me ask you one more question. What does freedom mean to you?
Freedom means to be able to choose your own actions and behavior according to direct and accurate knowledge as you are entitled to. We were born free. You ask a bird that's caged, what does freedom mean to you? You know, it might think it's free going from stick to stick in the cage, you know. It's little, the beautiful little finches and the beautiful, what do they call those little birds that people like to keep in their homes in the small cages?
Yeah, like a parakeet or a parrot. Or,
yeah. It's obvious. To be able to fly wherever they want, have their children, have their nest, that's not freedom to be in a cage. You might think, oh, look, I'll let my little bird out inside the house today and make them free. That's just another level.
Yeah.
It's a level of freedom, but it's not complete freedom. Freedom means complete freedom for one to make their own decisions and actions according to accurate and direct, correct knowledge. Because if they do that based on ignorant knowledge, that's not freedom. For instance, people who are rushing to the medicals to get their treatments, you know, because they want to protect themselves. They think they're going to be free. They've been promised, if you get this treatment, you'll be free. We'll go back to living normal. Next thing you know, they drop dead. That's not freedom. They were free to go there, make their own decisions, and get that treatment. But is that freedom? No, because they didn't have direct knowledge. Right. So freedom is based on direct knowledge, direct, accurate knowledge.
Thank you. That's beautiful. I really appreciate your time and everything you've done for me and for everybody. I hope you know, however that feels for somebody, that what you've done has impacted so many people in such a deep, deep way. Eternal gratitude, and just could never thank you enough for all of that and for your time today. Really appreciate it. I was doing some research on quantum language and quantum grammar. I don't know if you've been into that or not.
David Windmiller.
Yeah, I was watching a video of a presentation that was in Australia some time ago, and then he opens the floor for questions. And I swear I heard your voice ask a question from the crowd.
It was me.
I was like, oh my gosh, this guy, he's done all the, like, there he is. You were actually at the conference. It was brilliant. That just goes to show how deep of knowledge and research you've done, and the energy that you've put into it, and what you've received and what you've shared, and how that's expanding. And so grateful for all of that. But I thought I would ask you, because I was like, I swear, it sounded like Santos in the crowd asking a question.
Yeah, that was 12 years ago. I was there with my son. I went and saw David Windmiller. I was pretty impressed with his stuff.
Definitely unique. What do you feel like you're into right now? I don't mean to keep asking you questions, but I did want to say, see where you're at with your studies, or what you're putting out. What is at the forefront of your time and energy at this point?
Well, I would say to people to join the Syncretism Society Academy. Go to syncretismsociety.com, or Mr. AstroTheology, my YouTube channel, and keep abreast with the good knowledge that's coming out. I'm about to release the best of the best that I've ever produced. I'm going to start a series called the Sam Best Method, which is the one and only method to have complete, direct, correct knowledge of all things.
Oh, wow.
So I would just get right close to the Syncretism Society Virtual Academy and sign up and be a member.
Excellent. I appreciate that. Couldn't recommend that enough myself. Thank you so much for your time and everything. As always, I would probably spend 3 hours just here thanking you for everything that I've learned from you. and all the different directions it's allowed me to go into, and always enjoy time with you and your energy on the screen, but it's great to have you in person today like this, and hope everything goes well for you in Mexico, and hopefully we'll chat again sometime soon.
Will do for sure, brother. Thank you.
Excellent.
Thanks to the listeners. Take care.
Have a great one.
Bye-bye.